Girls, what's the most obvious hint you got from a guy that turned out not to be a hint? Guy looked straight at me, through the flames of a bonfire, no less, and said, "You're so beautiful." He was just trying to boost my self-esteem. He was a young PhD student, TA in the lab I was an undergrad tech for. He constantly talked to me, asked about what I did for fun, said he wanted to hang out off campus, commented on how nice I looked. I invited him out for a family barbecue out in the hills. During the ride there, he started asking about where to meet fellow gay guys. He complimented my hair. Turned out he was just super nice to everyone. Found out several months later he had a girlfriend and recently got engaged. It also turns out I will get a crush on any man who pays attention to me. He kept complimenting my appearance, clothes, style, and saying things like if I had a girlfriend I'd love her to do her hair like that in reference to me. He was also quite touchy-feely. We used to hug cuddle quite a lot. Turns out he actually had a thing for a friend of mine and only saw me in a platonic way. I'm kinda on an older man phase right now and I started getting some attention from this older man in my university. He was really sweet. We'd meet around the same time for coffees. He'd let me rest my hand on his thighs and give him back rubs. We'd exchange silly things about our day, etc. I asked him out for dinner, informal-esque, and he agreed and we talked a bit about our personal life stuff. Turns out, he's gay and thought of me as a daughter or niece because he's always wanted kids but was never in a position to have one. I felt like the biggest perv on the planet, rejected and daughters owned, but we're good friends and laugh about it. Guy kept mentioning how he had no girlfriend and even our crusty old English teacher had a relationship. I asked said guy out for Valentine's Day. He said no. My now husband always bring extra coffee and offer it on our first class together. Always make time for a chat during lunch. Carry my stuff. Ask me out for movies and hangouts and dinner. Talk about stuffs like dreams, ambitions and fears of emotion. And we cuddles and hug and snuggle often. Most people thought we were dating. I thought we were dating. Turns out that's just how he is with girlfriends. Found that out when I kissed him on like our 40ish date that he was like, UMH. Okay, didn't expect that. And I said why not? Couples are supposed to kiss on dates. Priceless expression. Took him a long while to get the hang of things. I love this man. But he's bloody clueless. Frustrating and adorable at times. And at the same time. Don't know if this counts but I thought it was funny at the time. This was back when I was in college. Me and a few good friends of mine were out having lunch and my one guy friend is telling us how he is casually hooking up with this girl but is worried because he isn't that experienced in the bedroom. As he is saying he wished he had more experience he kicks my leg lightly under the table. So I'm thinking he wants some no strings attached guidance friend to friend right? Later that day I text him saying of course I'll help you. Come over after class tomorrow and he just texts back okay. Basically he comes to my dorm the next day and I strip down naked and he looks at me confused. I explain myself thinking he is just nervous and he says oh, I didn't kick you on purpose. We both laughed it off and ended up having sex anyway. Guy in my major spent every day with me in uni. Scheduled his classes so that we'd be in the same sections. And also rode the rail with me back to our home city. Our families were nearby. During holiday and cuddled during the trip while watching movies. Ended up crushing on him and was surprised when he texted me one morning. Good morning sexy butt. Then texted me in horror to explain it was meant for his boyfriend who I didn't know about at all. Super cute guy did an amazing Bobby Darin at the local karaoke night so I gave my number to the waitress to give to him. He texted me the next day and invited me out to karaoke again. Spent all night sitting together, talking and laughing, sharing sake, meeting and hanging out with his friends, bouncing from place to place until 2 in the morning. He invited me back to his pad. I went without hesitation. Once inside, he went upstairs and came back down with a t-shirt and shorts for me to sleep in, adding, I had a great time with you tonight. Anyway. The couch is pretty comfy and there's some blankets and pillows in that chest by the TV. I've really got to get to bed. My girlfriend's already asleep up there and we've got some place to go in the morning. Let yourself out whenever you want. I set my alarm for 6 AM and bolted. Never texted him again or went back to that karaoke place. To this day, I still can't understand it. Guy friend made me a mix CD out of the blue with some romantic songs. I thought he might be interested in me, so I asked him out. He said no. Texting for hours every day, calling before bed almost every night, stay over regularly, went to the trip abroad together, took me to meet his friends and I get along really well with them. Most of our friends thought we were dating but he kept denying it and said we were only good friends. And when I started to fall for him he just stopped. Now we don't talk anymore. I miss him dearly even if only for a friendship. He is still my best friend but I don't know what I am from his side. Guess I read all the signs wrong all along. We were changing clothes for a band thing somewhere we weren't supposed to be. We were too lazy to go to the bathrooms to change. And he asked me if I liked his underwear. Yeah, wasn't actually a hint. Just was excited about his new undies. Making moves on me each time we'd hang out. Like going out to bars with friends or house parties. Jumped in a cab after me once. Started kissing me and when I called him a few days later to grab a drink, I had no intention of continuing what we started in the cab. A guy said I was so pretty and nice and I thought he wanted to date me. It turned out he wanted to just prank me. Edit. I just wanna thank everyone for the kind comments. One good thing I learned about that experience is that I am not easy to sweep off her feet. Had a FWB that I developed major feelings for. He constantly treated me like he wanted to date. Said that spending time with me was like being home. Snuggled me. Kissed me. Talked to me every single day. etc etc. Turns out he just wanted to use me as a sexual crutch because he was still in love with an ex who wouldn't give him the time of day. He was always playing with my hair and flirting with me. And when I finally asked him about it, he said he liked to flirt with everyone because it was easy and it was just for fun. He knew exactly what he was doing. SMH. I had a friend from work that I would frequently go out with for a quick drink. We had a lot in common and were great friends. He flirted with me constantly and then one day said we needed to go out properly. I thought it was our first date. He did not. He just meant we should make it a bigger night than just a quick drink. I was disappointed but we stayed friends, although I cooled it a bit. A year or so later, we were thrown back together and started spending a lot more time together. I thought it was really obvious that he was into me, but maybe wasn't sure how I felt since I'm not great at flirting. One night I asked him, and turns out he hadn't actually had those thoughts about me ever. Luckily he came around to the idea pretty quickly. He kissed me that night. We were engaged 6 months after that kiss. He still likes to joke that we kissed on his first date and my 12th. Holy hell, I got this. 2001. House party. Actually, it was a joint party for me and a couple friends at their place. I was turning 21, and my 2 friends were turning 22. They had this super hot roommate who flirted with me all night. As things were winding down, the hot roommate turned to me and said, "You wanna go to my room and play hangman?" I was like, oh hell yes. Hot roommate. He led me to his room, and pulled out a ducking pad of paper and a pen. I slept on the floor that night. In a funny twist, the next year he moved out, and my friends invited me to move into his room. I had a great time living there for a year. Cuddling and watching movies together. I thought it was obvious, but duck. How much was I wrong? Every time I see a thread about guys missing hints from women I say this. I guess it applies to women too. Hints are not universal. Your hints are only yours. One person's flirting is another person's just being friendly. For every post on Reddit about how a guy missed obvious signals, there is also a post about how their friendliness is mistaken for flirting. We went the cinema on what I thought was a date. Watched Resident Evil. Think it was 2 or 3. Defo not Ray 1. The end of the film the cinema clears pretty fast and as we get up he says, "There's only one girl in this cinema for me." Turns out he really liked Mila Jovovich. Oh well. This is back when we all still had Twitter accounts we regularly used. Guy friend I'd hooked up with a couple of times posted a tweet saying something along the lines of "I want to get to know the real you. Tell me when." I subtweeted on my account telling him to take a chance. But he directly replied to my tweet saying my tweet wasn't about you. The embarrassment and trying to backpedal hard as duck to be like I wasn't talking about you either still gives me the cold sweats when I think about it. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. Hanging out my buddy and he invited me to his place to see his trophy collection. We were super close but I had never been to his house. So of course I thought it was an excuse to get me inside. Or inside me. Boom. Pun. We get inside and he takes me to a back room. My heart is pounding. Is this really happening? He flips on the light and it's his trophy collection. Actual trophies. Needless to say, that's one of my favorite inside jokes him and my friends. He sang to me, like full on song and dance performance. I'm kinda glad it ended up not being a hint because I was just really embarrassed and didn't know how to react. This guy I was studying with in college said to me as I was leaving if I had a girlfriend, I'd get nothing done, as in implying like if I was his GF because we always got nothing done when we studied together. Turned out he didn't like me like that. He made me a mixed CD, did a cute drawing of us, hung out with me every day during lunch. After I moved away and we reconnected via Facebook, I learned that he's gay. Constantly talked about how he thought we'd be good together. Joked about us dating a lot. Constantly wanted to snuggle. Made flirty comments. Apparently not. Boyfriend of 5+ years really wants to take me to a wedding fair or two. Goes on about nothing else. I gently ask one evening if we can talk about the whole marriage thing. He looks horrified and tells me I'm moving far too fast. He groped me and called me beautiful at a party. He ghosted me. Would talk every day. Even sent me D-pics all while in love with my best friend. A guy I know came up to my room and got in bed with me when I was naked. Turns out he didn't know I was there and almost shat himself when I got up in the morning. A guy started paying a lot of attention to me. He'd read my blog or tweets, then message me referencing them. He'd chat me every day, ask me out to movies and staying over at his place overnight. We live in a conservative society, so it's more of the alone time than hooking up. When we were alone, he would be very touchy with me, asking to hug me, hold me, even cuddle me. A friend outright asked him if he was courting me. When I told him I liked him, he rejected me but continued to treat me the same way. And I went along because it felt good and he might change his mind. It messed with my head for a while. In the end, he apologized for the things he did but couldn't give me a reason why he did it. Except for I was stupid. I've formed my own explanation over the years. See, he grew up in a very religious family and is religious himself. He went to an all-boys school before uni and in uni, got rejected by the girl he liked. I think he was attracted to me and just wanted to experience how it feels to be with a girl, and I was a very willing sample. When I was in 4th grade, one of the boys in my class bullied me really badly. I grew up being told that meant he liked me, thought he must really like me, tried to befriend him, spent a lot of time fantasizing how he'd admit his love for me. Dude managed to get the whole school on it and I was viciously targeted until I got expelled in 8th grade because I had emotional issues. Continued to somehow it talk me during high school despite me not even going to said school. So yeah, that sucked. Repeatedly kissing me, then cuddling for like 5 hours. How could I have possibly interpreted that as him being interested in me? When I was in a relationship, my close friend longtime crush told me that he regretted never making a move on me and that he loved me. So I broke up with my boyfriend for this guy. He then got weird and distant and told me he was gay. That one ducked me up for a while. He pulled his D out. He didn't want a duck. No, he was just real strange. Guy I had been dating for a month or two started inviting me to his mom's birthday dinner, sister's grad party, meet the family type stuff. A couple of weeks later when I asked to hang out, not really a date since he was between work trips and tired, but just chill together and watch TV or whatever, he told me things were moving too quickly and he wasn't ready for this to be like a serious relationship. Okay, to me, inviting someone you're dating to meet your family is a sign that it's becoming a bit more serious. Definitely a bigger sign than watching TV together. But whatever. Although that was 10 years ago, wow. Getting old, and I don't believe he's dated anyone since. So there was probably other stuff going on there. I mean, I thought saying I still love you after hooking up for a few hours was a bit of a hint, but apparently we're just friends. Eater. There's also the one guy who kept staring at my lips really hard while saying I'm really attracted to you, but nothing came of that either. Matched on a dating app. Chatted, flirted for a while. He then asked what my plans were for the night and I said I was busy, so I asked if he had plans another night. He said none. So I asked if he wanted to grab a drink. He told me it was 6 that I asked him out, but then said no to the date. Lol. Constantly calling me beautiful, or a 10/10, we hang out all the time. He'll come and visit me at work. He picked me up from the airport so he could be the first person I saw back from a trip I took. Yay, he said he's just a good friend. Okay buddy, it's not like I'm in love or anything. A lot of these replies contain phrases like if I had a girlfriend, and in most cases when a guy says that, I would think that means that you're probably not going to be one of them. This guy used to play footsie with me at D&D every week. He would touch my arm, do all this intentional physical stuff. Yeah, he's gay. He wasn't into me at all, just messing around. It's been my experience that guys are not hintable. They don't give hints. They don't get hints. Once you figure that out, you should be okay. On the record, I think guys are rather wonderful, but yeah, hints are not their forte at all. Not even a little. Like you have to hit them over the head sometimes, or, you know, just tell them what you're thinking. Crazy, I know. We always joked around with each other in high school. Inside jokes and just a closeness I didn't have with my girlfriends. Then he offered to walk me to my dorm room in college and I said no because it was literally about 20 feet away and everyone said he didn't want to just walk me to my room. After we graduated I sent him a message telling him we should give us a shot. He read it and never responded. I had just broken up with my then boyfriend. Out of the blue a guy friend asked me to go to Greece with him for a week. I thought it was a perfect hookup opportunity after the breakup. Might turn into something. Oh, he legit just wanted to go to Greece with me. I was about 17. And there was this guy who was about 21 that I was interested in. He'd always take the time to talk to me, even when he was at work. And he was usually pretty touchy-feely with me, and always giving me hugs. He asked me to meet up with him one weekend. And I was so excited to finally spend some proper one-on-one time with him, and see where it would go. It started off okay. He had his arm around me as we walked through town, but he bumped into a couple of his friends from work, who obviously recognized me, so he put a bit of distance between us. His friends were teasing him about hanging out with me, but also saying, "I thought you liked Aaron's sister," and things got awkward fast, so he just tried ending the conversation and moving on. Afterwards, he eventually said that he didn't want to start anything with me, because he was interested in me and my sister at the same time. And he couldn't figure out who he liked more. I didn't talk to him much after that because I was a bit weirded out. Guy in my class told me how pretty my hair was and that he wished he had a girlfriend who had hair like mine so that he could run his fingers through it. I asked him out. He already had a girlfriend. Yay. When I was in high school there was a cute guy in my class that joked for a month about me being his prom date but never actually asked me. New friend who I didn't know very well got my number with the intentions of meeting to talk business. The night before our meeting though he sent what I thought were flirty texts. Lots of winky faces. Lots of getting to know you questions. Rapid fire responses. And he got really excited when I said I had never been camping. With no encouragement from me he told me he would take me car camping, saying we can sleep in the truck and everything. He made it seem like it would be just the two of us. And I thought it was a bit much, even though I tend not to assume the intentions of new people so soon. I decided I needed to draw a line in the sand and told him that I'm married. He got instantly defensive and told me he wasn't at all interested. Oops, I guess. I'm in this situation right now. Lots of physical contact. Pet names. Has explicitly stated he enjoys being around me. Will walk next to me when we're in a group. Even took care of me when I was sick. He has also said, in a moment of emotional distress over another thing entirely, that he's into my friend. Makes me wonder if he does like me, but is trying to choose between the two of us. I'm always late to the game with these. Spent a summer where I was hanging out almost exclusively with 3 other people. 2 gals. 2 guys. 1 guy and I were closer, and the other 2 were clearly into each other. The guy and I did some coaxing to get the other 2 to take a chance on something they both clearly wanted. This pretty much made me and him pretty close. He even called me when he had a really low point, was drinking and all his insecurities hit him out of nowhere, and needed someone to be with him. Went drinking one night. His place was closer than mine, so we stumbled back thereafter. After setting up the air mattress in a spare room, we ended up staring at each other and somehow it turned into him saying you should take your shirt off. Now, our whole summer had been booze and flirting. So I shrugged and took off my shirt, then my bra. He was smiling like an idiot. So I told him it wasn't fair that I was half naked and he wasn't. His shorts and boxers came off quickly. Suffice to say, we were both excited. I feel like this is all going a very definite direction. We start making out. This is happening. I rub his cock and kiss his neck. Stop, you're making it weird. And he goes to his bedroom, alone. Dude went so far as to marry me, which I believed implied a certain level of interest commitment. But nah, still keeping his options open. We'd been messaging pretty much every day, and were planning to hang out. And eventually it got steered to him coming over to my place to stay the night, to get drunk and watch Netflix with me. I knew the guy wasn't in a place where he wanted a relationship, and I was going overseas for 6 months shortly after. Apparently he'd not really considered the fact we might hook up. We did, but I can still remember feeling his heart rate double the moment he finally figured it out. So many new additions to our Denla gay. I had a crush on this beautiful man I worked with while in undergrad. He'd always flirt back with me, rub my shoulders when he walked behind me in the kitchen, worked at a restaurant, and would always tell me how beautiful I was. He'd exclusively invite me to a bar once a week where he was competing in a signing competition. He advanced every week. One day at work, we were on break together. As I was applying chapstick, he leaned in and kissed me. It was electrifying. I decided to talk to him about how I was feeling a few days later. It turns out he was gay and has a B. When I asked him why he had kissed me, he told me it was because he loved my lips. He didn't kiss me in a sexual way. He was just curious how they felt and he was comfortable doing it because we were such good friends. Women fall for gay guys. Told me to move to California with him. Told me he enjoyed spending time with me. When I joked about being a figment of his imagination, he told me his imagination did a damn good job. Called me darling. From what I understand, he started ducking another girl in my department who makes up it about me to get people to stop talking to me. Quit that job last week.